Hey there, Andrea Seidel here, also known as the Book Doula. And I'm so excited that the book club is back. The Live Life Happy Book Club and the community is back. I never went anywhere, to be honest. I was just immersed in studies. I took my master's in happiness studies, and we actually lost all our content from the podcast. So, unfortunately, we had over 400 books summarized in highlights. I've been doing this for years. You know, I'm book obsessed. And so we're going to pick it back up. We're going to pick up where we left off. I'm going to keep summarizing these amazing books and keep putting them in the Live Life Happy community. And I hope you can come in there and join us inside the Live Life Happy community because we have so many book features in there. And I'm slowly migrating it all over and re-recording for us. And so hopefully you get a lot out of this. Now, I always say, although I'm here summarizing, sucking out the actionable nuggets and the beauty of these books, I always say purchase the book and support the author, especially if something sparks your interest, because let's face it, books are like, oh my gosh, like wisdom and experience and knowledge and expertise all packaged into this beautiful gift for us to learn and grow from. So today we're going to jump into an amazing book. It's called How to Change by Katy Milkman. And it might be Katie. I think it's Katy. I apologize for butchering your name. I always say, people say my name in so many different ways too, and I actually like it. I'm okay with it, everyone saying Andrea, all these different ways. But I have to say, some books, they inspire change, but this book actually shows us how to make it happen. So how change happens is sometimes we think we want to change or we want to make changes, but then it doesn't really happen. We might be inspired to change, but then how does it actually happen? How do we make change actually happen? So this book is called How to Change: The Science of Getting from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And this is powerful. I mean, we've all wanted to change some elements of our lives, or maybe changes cast upon us. So how to change stood out to me because it really does bridge one of the biggest gaps that I often see in the world of well-being, and that's the space of knowing what to do, what's good for us, and actually doing it. And Katy, she really does walk us through that we don't just have to rely on motivation or willpower alone, that instead she really does provide us with the science-backed strategies that can work with our human nature, that can work with us and not against us. Now, I have to say my dad's so funny because he'll say things like, oh, like, so I shouldn't eat the apple pie when he's trying to watch his sugar and watch, his calorie intake. And I'm kind of laughing inside. I'm like, Dad, you know you're not supposed to. And so it really is about bridging that knowing and doing gap. As my professor, Tal Ben Shahar, would often say, let's bridge that knowing doing gap. And that's really what this podcast, YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening to this is all about. It's about taking this knowledge and seeing how we can therefore then apply it to our life so we can bridge that knowing doing gap. And so she really does take us from feeling like we have to rely on motivation to actually feeling like we can make a difference. And so the author, she's just incredible. She is a professor at the Wharton School and one of the world's leading experts on behavior change. Her research has helped shape public policy. It's helped with health initiatives and everyday habit formation. And she has a gift for making very complex science feel very practical and doable. That's what I loved about this book. This book matters because lasting change isn't about just trying so hard, trying harder. It's about changing how we approach change. I love that. I'm going to say that again. It's changing how we approach change. And she really does change how we approach change. So what I really found intriguing and thought-provoking is one of the most neat concepts that I picked up is that there's no single formula for change. So we can't, we all struggle with for different reasons with change, and there's not one single formula. So she tells us that off the bat, but she introduces a really good framework that identifies some common barriers to change or common things that might get in the way such as simply forgetting or procrastinating, or maybe lack of confidence, or maybe temptation that usually comes in, or even social pressure. She talks about all of that, what maybe some of the barriers might be to change. And so, what really made me pause in her book is how compassionate she is in this approach. So instead of labeling ourselves as undisciplined or unmotivated or bad at change or I never follow through, this book really does ask us, like, what's actually getting in your way, right? And what tools can help fit that barrier. So it's getting specific to us individually. That's what this book really does ask us, is like, what are the barriers getting in your specific way? I has maybe don't feel like you need to label yourself as undisciplined or like, bad at change. It's like, what actually is getting in the way? Like what tools can help fit with that barrier? And so, from happiness studies perspective, this is really important because this reinforces self-compassion as well as autonomy. We're all individual. We all have different approaches and things that might work for us. And it's about realistic goal setting. And so these are the key ingredients for sustainable well-being. And I love that in this book. Oh my gosh, there's so much in this book. You're going to want to grab it and read the whole thing cover to cover and learn. So this book, actually, some of the actionable nuggets that stood out to me that I loved is this idea of making change fun. And as you know, I'm the author of The Power of Play. And so this one's amazing. If we can make change fun, it's going to feel like enjoyment. It's going to feel, if we compare some habits to things that are fun, it's going to make change more powerful so that it doesn't feel like punishment. And so how can we do that? So for me, I know I love reading, obviously. And so, but I don't necessarily running on a treadmill. I don't necessarily love that. So when I pair those two together, it actually makes my running more fun because I look forward to listening to my book that I'm listening to on Audible while I'm running on the treadmill. And so that's the idea, is if we can make change fun, whatever it is that we want to change, if we can pair it with, habits that are enjoyable, then it feels less like punishment. The other thing is she talks about reducing friction. This stands out for me. These are actionable things that we can do. And so making good habits easier to do and making not so great habits harder to do. So for example, if I'm trying to not eat chips, I love salty goodness chips, so good. If I'm trying not to eat chips, well, the best thing I can do is make it really hard to get them. So I don't even buy them in my grocery route. I don't even put them in my cupboard. Okay, so maybe on the weekends I might do it for the kids, but that's the idea. So we want to make the good habits that we're trying to achieve much easier. So reduce the friction so that it's more likely we're going to do that. So even like, pick, if you want to start working out more, maybe pick a gym that's closer to your house or on the way home, or make sure your gym clothes are always in your car ready for you. Or if you want to wake up and walk right away, reduce the friction that might get in the way of you getting out there for your morning walk. And then if there's something you want to decrease, then make it harder. Increase the friction. Make the barrier so it's harder to do. Makes sense, right? She also talks about using commitment devices. Now, this is cool. So we can set up structure that supports follow through. So this is kind of accountability. I know for me, I started writing out everything that I eat so that I can be a little more accountable with my change in my diet that I'm trying to achieve right now. And so this sets me up for structure and follow through. And I see what it is that I'm eating and I'm committed to it. And actually there's apps on your phone so you can use devices to help you, or even, you want to keep these things up when motivation fades. So maybe announce it to your friends, things like that. She really does suggest. And also for me, it's the measuring. It's like she talks about measuring too, and how important it is. For example, like if I have a pedometer on, I can see and make sure I get my 10,000 steps and then celebrate when I get there. So she talks about leveraging fresh starts. And I love this. It's actually called the fresh start effect. And I don't know about you, but like, I mean, I'm sure you know, like New Year's, it's a new year, fresh start, or Mondays is a fresh start, or maybe a birthday, or maybe a new season, or maybe something along those lines. And she says to, because there is a fresh start effect with things, that we can use this as a wonderful opportunity to boost our motivation and to make our change more successful. So she talks about using Mondays, using birthdays, using different seasons, or locations or things like that as a life, or even like a life transition to hit the reset button. I usually use so for me, I have the fresh start effect every single quarter. I actually use each quarter to make goals for the next 3 months and to hit the reset button and say, okay, what worked in the last quarter? What can I change to make difference for this next quarter? What new habits can I build in that would set me up for success? Those kind of things work really well. So that's what I do in my own life, right? This book really does reinforce that, that change sticks best when it feels fun, when it feels good, when we're kind to ourselves, when it's realistic, and when it's human, right? When it feels easy to do or joyful and has less friction. And so I really love this aspect. There's so much again in this book, but what was really moving and meaningful to me is that it offers hope, right? When you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to rely on motivation alone, this book really changes that. It really recognizes that there's no shame, right? There's the mentality of just try harder. Messaging is just like, that's not what this is about. Instead, it's understanding what potential barriers might be getting in the way and that we're human and give ourselves permission to be human and that we're wonderfully imperfect and that change becomes possible when we can design our environment, make our environments support the change that we're seeking and also make sure that we have wise expectations around it as well. And so I really love her messaging in her book. This aligns beautifully with how we can live life happy and, growth without self-criticism is what this book is about. It's about progress without burnout. It's about change that actually supports our well-being that feels really good. Okay, so if I could put one sticky note on this book, like I always say, I love putting sticky notes on the outside of the book. So it's something that I don't really want to forget. I would say with this book, change isn't about willpower. It's about strategy. So when you understand why change is hard, so knowing why it's hard for us, then we can choose tools that work with our own brains, with our own habits, and with our own environments or our lives. So I just love that. Another part to the sticky note is small, thoughtful shifts create momentum. She says this in her book, small, thoughtful shifts create momentum, and that momentum changes everything. And so that is so powerful. So there you have it. How to Change. Her book really reminds us that transformation doesn't require perfection. In fact, that's impossible. It just requires better systems. And we can do that. So what's one change you've been trying to force that might feel easier with a smarter strategy? So books truly do change lives. As you know, I say that all the time, especially the ones that show us how to change with compassion and clarity. So celebrating books that support our well-being and the authors behind them, come and join our Live Life Happy community where we turn these great, amazing books into insight, into action, and into lived experience. Thank you so much for being here.